Chapter 21, Fractures. The early morning air in Central Park carried a lingering chill, the kind that clung just before sunrise. At Cherry Hill Fountain near Bow Bridge, the sky had only just begun to pale at the edges, soft gold pressing against the dark. With a sharp crack, Ruckus appeared beside the fountain, a large crate landing silently at his side. He paused. His eyes moved quickly, scanning the empty park, pathways, trees, the curve of the bridge. No movement, no witnesses. From within his robes, he pulled a wooden tool tray lined with small glass vials, each filled with fine purple powder. His hands were steady, but his breathing was not. One by one, he unstopped the vials. He began to walk. Carefully, deliberately, he poured the powder in a wide, unbroken circle around the fountain's base. The dust shimmered faintly as it touched the ground, reacting to something unseen. When the circle was complete, Ruckus returned to the crate and opened it. Inside lay a small silver device, circular, metallic, fitted with an oversized dial and several additional knobs crudely integrated into its frame. He lifted it out and placed it directly on the ring of powder. The moment it touched, the dust seemed to respond, subtly shifting, as if aligning itself. Ruckus adjusted the main dial, clicked one switch, then pressed a single, large button. The device emitted a low, almost inaudible hum. Ruckus closed his eyes. Slowly, he raised his hand and traced a circular motion in the air. Once, twice, 3 times, 4. The hum deepened. Then, the powder vanished. The device vanished with it, as if neither had ever existed. Ruckus lowered his hand, his shoulders sagging under the weight of it all. He looked at the fountain, his gaze lingering, not on the magic, but on what it meant. A quiet, heavy sigh escaped him. He gestured toward the crate. With a soft pop, it disappeared. A second later, so did he. Hermione turned the corner into the black-tiled corridor, her pace quick and focused. She stopped. The iron door to Tobias's cell stood ajar. Something was wrong. "Hello," she called, already reaching for her wand. No answer. She moved closer and saw him. Dawlish lay crumpled in the doorway, unmoving. Hermione gasped, dropping to one knee beside him. "Dawlish!" No response. Her hand shook as she reached into her pocket, pulling out her comcoin. She tapped it rapidly. "Harry! Ron! It's Tobias! He's behind it! He's using a house elf named Ruckus to deploy the—" A violent hiss cut her off. From the shadows beyond the open door, a jet of thick, dark purple mist exploded outward. It hit her full in the face. Her breath vanished. Her voice collapsed into a silent gasp as the mist swallowed her whole. The comcoin slipped from her numb fingers, clattering uselessly against the tile. Through the swirling haze, a figure stepped forward. Tobias. A cloth mask covered his nose and mouth. In his hand, a glass vial still smoked faintly. He looked down at her, not triumphant, not cold, conflicted. "I'm sorry, Hermione," he said quietly. "I truly am." She tried to move. Couldn't. "You were never going to let me finish," he continued. "You're too perceptive for that." In Geneva, Harry and Ron had just exited the auditorium when both of their comcoins vibrated sharply in their hands. They activated them at once. Hermione's voice burst through, urgent and breathless. "Tobias, he's behind it. He's using a house elf named Ruckus to deploy the—" Silence. "Damn it," Ron snapped. He tapped his coin with his wand. "Hermione? Hermione, answer me!" The gold glow of his coin dimmed. Then it shifted. Cold. Metallic. Lifeless. Harry noticed immediately. "What does that mean?" Ron stared at it, dread creeping in. "It means the connection's been severed." His voice faltered. "It means he's got her." Harry didn't hesitate. He raised his own coin. "Gawain Robards," he said firmly. "Hermione Granger has identified Tobias Rook as responsible for the mist attacks. He's using a house elf to deploy them. Her comcoin has gone dark. We believe she's in immediate danger. Check on her now." Ron leaned in, his voice cutting through. "Please." The line went dead. Ron began pacing, running a hand through his hair, his composure unraveling. Then he stopped. When he looked up, there was something new in his expression, something harder. "If he's hurt her," he said, voice low and dangerous. "Harry, I'm not waiting. I've got to get to London." Hermione woke slowly. Pain came first, a dull, pounding ache behind her eyes. Then sensation returned in fragments. Cold stone, tight bindings, something rough pressed against her mouth. Her eyes snapped open. Darkness. Brick walls. Arched openings lining both sides. Recognition flickered. A flue hub? Distantly, she could hear the echoing grind of elevator cables far above. She tried to move. Her hands were bound behind her back. Her legs were tied tightly to the chair. The cloth gag muffled any sound she tried to force out. She forced herself to think. Relatio. Nothing. Defindo. Nothing. Her breath quickened. No wand, but even without one, there should be something. A feeling. Anything. There was nothing. Her head throbbed harder as the realization settled in. Then, footsteps. Slow. Measured. She twisted as far as she could. Tobias emerged from the shadows. He had changed clothes. The robes were gone, replaced with a maintenance uniform, dull and unremarkable. Invisible. Intentional. He stepped into the lantern light. Hermione's voice broke through the gag, strained but fierce. "How could you?" she demanded. "The entire lab trusted you. I trusted you. You said you'd changed." Tobias studied her, something like regret flickering across his face. "The wizarding world loves a squib," he said quietly. "As long as they're useful, quiet, invisible, cleaning up after everyone else." He tilted his head slightly. Phase 3 is already in motion. Back in Switzerland, Harry and Ron stormed through the main hall of the magical law enforcement building, heading straight for the port key room. Behind them, Yukimi and Luca spotted their urgency immediately. Something was wrong. They followed. They caught up just as Harry and Ron entered the room. Ron got behind the chocolate bar on the port key pedestal, turning to face them. Our ministry's compromised, he said in one breath. The man behind the mist is free, and he has Hermione. Yukimi blinked. Who is Hermione? His girlfriend, Luca said quickly. She created the comcoins. Ron's hand hovered over the port key. We could use help. Are you coming or not? Harry placed his hand beside Ron's. Robards is already moving. Then Yukimi stepped forward, placing her hand on the object. Luca dropped his stack of reports without hesitation and joined them. Ron nodded once. 3, 2, 1. Phase 3? Hermione forced out. What does that mean? More attacks? Tobias, what do you think this ends in? You already know, he said. He stepped closer. Squibs have spent centuries being treated as lesser, as defective, as expendable. His voice hardened. We're not. And this is your solution? Hermione shot back. To strip magic from everyone? To end the imbalance, Tobias corrected. Completely. Hermione shook her head. You're lost. The man who saved those people in Diagon Alley, he wouldn't have done this. Something in Tobias snapped. You've seen me at my best, he said, and my worst. He took another step forward. When Potter caught me, I knew I didn't have enough time, so I adapted. His voice cooled. I let you believe I'd changed. Hermione's stomach dropped. I gave you the flaw in the mist, he continued. Fed you just enough truth to earn your trust. And Diagon Alley? She pressed. My miscalculation, he said flatly. The mist should have spread faster. It should have reduced the entire area before you ever had a chance to interfere. He smiled faintly. But we adjust. Hermione stared at him. So phase 3 is just more of the same? Tobias let out a quiet laugh. Yes, he said. Only this time, it's everywhere, and it's permanent. He leaned in slightly. And unless Harry Potter has learned how to be in 5 places at once, he can't stop it. The weight of it hit her. Tobias reached into his pocket and pulled out a wand. Hermione's breath caught. That's mine, she said, barely above a whisper. He approached slowly. You know, Hermione, he said, almost gently. Of all people, I thought you might understand the plight of the squib. He took her bound hand and pressed the wand into her palm. Then he leaned close, his voice a whisper against her ear. You are one now. He stepped back, turned, and disappeared into the shadows. Hermione stared down at the wand in her hand. For the first time since she was 11 years old, she felt nothing. No warmth, no pull, no magic. Her hand trembled. Relatio, she tried. Nothing. Diffindo. Nothing. Her grip loosened, her head bowed, and a single tear fell into the dark.